Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Hope that you guys are well. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time you're listening to this. I really do appreciate that you are taking your time to listen and to spend time with God, to spend time in His Word. That is really commendable. So today we are going to be looking at Proverbs Chapter 10. And if you haven't read this chapter, you need to pause this recording and read it for yourself. You know why? Because I will not be reading it word for word like I usually do, but I'm going to give you a summary of what's happening in the chapter. But I would really like you to pause this recording and read the chapter for yourself. It's like short sentences, you guys. You can do this. You can do this. All right, so I'm going to give you a summary of what's happening in the chapter, and then I'm going to share with you what lessons I have picked up from the chapter. So Proverbs chapter 10, actually all the way from Proverbs chapter 10 to Proverbs chapter 29, we will find a collection of Solomon's sayings, which are more like what? Like Solomon has lived his life, he's observed things, and he's made conclusions from his life experiences. They are more life conclusions and sayings of Solomon rather than promises to be claimed. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be taken seriously or they shouldn't be taken in practice. After all, Solomon was the wisest man to ever exist, but it is important for you to understand them for what they really are. They are Solomon saying after the life he's lived and after the things he's experienced, and he's just like, you know what? This is like this, and this is not like this. You'll also find a lot of contrast between good and evil, wicked and righteous. Like, for example, you'll see a sentence like, good people are guided by their honesty, but crooks who lie and cheat will ruin themselves. You'll see a lot of like but, like just contrast between good and evil, wicked and righteous. And in this chapter, chapter 10 in itself, I see about 3 ways in which we can distinguish between a wise man and a fool. Let me tell you guys, these chapters, because they're like lines and 2 lines of like good and evil, line 1, good and evil, line 2, like that. It's so difficult to pick up like just one lesson from a chapter in Proverbs, because every verse literally hits you like a ton of bricks. So you're just like, okay, so is this lesson? Is this lesson? It just leaves you meditating. So it's really difficult to just say, I'm going to only pick one. But today I'm going to focus on 3 things that I see are a way of distinguishing between a man who is a fool and a man who is wise. Like, if you want to know, yesterday I said, if you want to seek advice from people who are wise. So it's like, how will I know who is wise and who is not wise? So these are the 3 ways to distinguish. Number 1, a wise man is not a babbler. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 8 and again in verse 14. Let me just read. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 8, it says, the wise are glad to be instructed, but babbling fools fall flat on their faces. And then verse 14, it says, wise people treasure knowledge, but the babbling of a fool invites disaster. A babbler is a person who speaks a lot, talks a lot. They express themselves freely, and they often reveal themselves to be fools in their speech. I'm not saying that if you speak a lot, I know I speak a lot, and sometimes I can actually be a babbler. Maybe I'm also a babbler, who knows? We'll check by these things. It says they speak a lot, they express themselves freely, but it's not just about that. It's about the fact that even as they speak, they are revealing their foolishness in their speech. They have very little filter on what comes out of their mouth, and such people are always destined to say things that will offend other people, the things that they shouldn't say. So that's how you should check whether someone is a babbler. Is it a person who talks a lot? That's not enough. Is it a person who experiences themselves freely? That's not enough. Is it a person who often reveals themselves to be foolish in their speech? Ding, ding, ding. Now we are getting closer. We are getting warmer. Is it someone who has no filter or little filter on what comes out of their mouth? Yes. Is it a person who is always destined to say things that will offend people or things that they shouldn't say? That is a babbler. And then it says about wise people, it says wise men don't run their mouths constantly. They are prudent, they are thoughtful, they are careful when they express themselves. So don't be a babbler. And if you see someone who's a babbler, unajua huyu mtu sio wise. Let me ask you guys, have you ever gotten to a space? Let me just share my truth. Me, I've gotten to a space where you've seen someone, especially dudes, and then the dude is so handsome. Actually, he looks so good until he opens his mouth, and you're like, you should have just kept your mouth shut, because now you're just out here expressing your foolishness, Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Don't be a babbler. And that's how you distinguish between someone who is wise and someone who is foolish. Higher. The second way to distinguish is a wise man is not lazy. Proverbs Chapter 10 verse 26 says, let me just read it. It says, lazy people irritate their employers, like vinegar to the teeth and smoke in the eye. Let me read some other couple of verses that speak about the lazy people in this chapter. Proverbs Chapter 10 verse 4, it says, lazy people are soon poor and hard workers get rich. Verse 5, it says, a wise youth harvests in the summer, but one who sleeps during harvest is a disgrace. Lazy people irritate their employers. They're like, have you ever guys tasted vinegar? Like how it feels to the teeth, it's so irritating. Or how smoke feels in the eye, it's so irritating. A wise man is not an irritation to their bosses. He works hard. He ought to work. I mean, we all ought to work, but he works hard. He's not an irritation. Let me tell you something. Actually, I know I'm spilling all my beans in this Nini today, but there's once I met a guy. Let me tell you guys, for as long as I'm single, you will hear about me meeting guys. So I met this guy and he said he works in a government office. I had no problem with the fact that he works in a government office until he said that. So one day he's calling me in the morning. It's around like 11. He's telling me he's just going to work. And I'm like, oh, how come you're getting to work at 11? He's just like, oh, it's just a government office. I'll just go hang my coat and then just walk around. Maybe just make sure the director sees me and then I just leave. I was just like, yuck. That's a lazy man. Me, I'm just like, if you're employed, you prayed for that job. Can you just put in your work? Don't be a lazy person who's just an irritation to the employer. You're not getting the work done. Unalipo tu na gava, unakula tu pesa ya gava. I was just like, yuck. And actually, that's how I never ended up going on a date with that guy. It's that serious for me, guys. Because when you're wise, you will work hard for those that employ you. Even if your boss is not the best, you still will work hard. Not because your boss is worth it, but because the Lord has called us to serve with faithfulness in whatever spaces He has placed us. So, if you want to distinguish between a wise person and a foolish person is lazy. And a wise person is a hard worker. That is number 2. Number 3, a wise person does not acquire wealth through wickedness. Proverbs Chapter 10 verse 2, it says, tainted wealth has no lasting value, but right living can save your life. Alright? Pesa ya kuchukua na ubaya haina lasting value. Sorry, that's as much Swahili as I can speak. Solomon tells us that wealth gained from wickedness is of no value. And sure, yes, they can use their money to buy material things, live in big houses, go for holidays and do all those nice things that I would want to do, but I don't have money. But in the bigger picture is that it has no meaningful value. Their wealth won't save their souls. Their wealth won't fix their relationship with God. Their wealth won't buy their way out of God's punishment for their sins. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wealth. Oh, you guys, you know that I want to get wealth. I want to be wealthy. But it is wealth that is gained from wickedness that has no value. So let me tell you guys how to recognize when someone is a wise person or a foolish person. If the person who you're going to seek counsel from is someone who watu entrepreneurs, watu wanahongana in corruption left, right and center, someone who's always taking advantage of people so that he can make more, that is not a wise man. That is a foolish man. Because real value is found in living a righteous life. A relationship with God is worth more than all the money in the world. So I hope that you have picked up something. It's just 3 ways to distinguish between a wise person and a foolish person. I've said a wise man is not a babbler. A wise man is not lazy. A wise man does not acquire wealth through wickedness. So first and foremost, you look at the people that you're going to ask for counsel from in this measure, and then you sit yourself down and you look at yourself with these measures. Are you a babbler? Are you lazy? Are you trying to acquire wealth through wickedness? So if you find yourself in these areas, move to the other side so that you can be wise. Let's do that. Let's do that, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and see you tomorrow.